Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm getting my Brandon Thrasher on a little bit. I got my sunglasses on, I got my my winter cap on, my beanie. I want to do a full review on a knife I've kind of covered before, but I've never actually done a dedicated full review, and that is the custom Gavko Nurse. And I recently got this back. It was on loan out to Tier 1 Gear and EDC, and Jake over at Bearded Gear. So shout out to those two guys. Justin at Tier 1 is an awesome dude. Go check out his channel. And Jake is just one of my best friends and a awesome content creator, knife designer, fucking, you know, just doing his thing. And they both really like this knife. Pretty much anybody I've handed this to or showed it to likes this knife, unless it's just not your aesthetic, right? Which originally it really wasn't my aesthetic either, you know. I at first had seen this knife on Stasa 23's channel when he had a drop version of it, which looks totally different, honestly. Same outline, but different handles, different blade look. It has a flipper, no choil, so it's a bit different. But that was the first time I kind of saw the design, and I was kind of like, "Nyeh," you know. I wasn't super interested, really. And I then started seeing the customs, and MB Wild, shout out to Will, he had one that was a custom frame lock of this knife. And he was really high on it, man. He just talked so highly of it, the action and the sounds and the detent and all this stuff, right? And he ended up having to move some things, so I actually bought it off him, or I traded him for it, something like that. And I got it in, and I really liked the knife, except it was a frame lock, and it just made it really hard for me as a lefty to flip, right? Even though it had this long clip like this one does, which went all the way up the frame lock, somehow still I was putting pressure on the lock bar, and yeah, it just bugs me when I have to go out of my way to position my hand to flick things, right? So I ended up searching on the Facebook group for Gavko, and I found a guy who was willing to trade me that frame lock for this liner lock version, because I found out he does liner locks, which basically is a frame lock with another scale over top. So you could call it a liner lock, a sub frame lock, whatever you want to call it. But I traded him, and man, ever since I got this one, I've absolutely been blown away by it. I did send it off a couple times to Gavko. Michael Gavik is his real name. And I've been over this in other videos, so if you want to hear the whole story, you can watch those. But basically, it had a ton of lock stick, and I asked for the detent to be stronger, and he dialed this detent in so well. And I got it back, and then it had more lock stick, and then I ended up sending it to him twice and mentioning lock stick, and getting it back twice and literally having the same lock stick, if not worse. And it was just something to do with the weather. Like here, it gets lock stick. Where he lives in Florida, it doesn't. And it just wasn't working, right? And then after the second time I sent it to him, he basically stopped responding to me. I guess he didn't want to deal with me anymore. I don't know, because I was having lock stick on his custom. I don't know. It has obviously rubbed me the wrong way. I'm still salty about it. I still talk about it, but I'm not going to harp on it. So anyway, I sent it to Knife Modders, Lindy and Richie. Shout out to Lindy and Richie for saving the day. This knife would not be in my collection. This would not be one of my favorite knives in my collection if it were not for Lindy and Richie. Those two are absolute miracle workers on some knives, and on other knives, they're just pimping them out. You know what I mean? But they worked a miracle on this knife by carbonizing that lock face, which I know, I'm sure there's people out there who can do that themselves, whatever. But I was ready to give up on this knife, guys. And I was talking to Lindy and Richie and Jared Neve, and they both were like, just get it carbonized. Like, we'll carbonize it for you. And I'm like, okay. Sent it off, man. Ever since I got it back, no lock stick at all. Just absolutely a pleasure to disengage this knife. And now it's the way it should be, and it's perfect. And I love it. So thank you, Lindy and Richie. I love you guys. You know that. Go check out Knife Modders, guys, on Instagram and YouTube. They're just amazing. All right, so let's, I guess, get into this. Aesthetically, I love it. Like I said, wasn't into it at first, but it just has grown on me and grown on me. And the non-flipper with the choil looks way better. And obviously, the pimped out custom looks way better than the drop ones. Just, I love this 2-layer look with the liner lock. I love the longer clip he uses. I love that kind of spoon to it. We'll get to that in ergos. I guess for righties that could be an issue. It's not for me. You have this sort of acid washed blade, excellent mirror edge on it, comes like that. You have this elongated slot, which is kind of a signature. And then you have this beautiful sort of, I call it a dinosaur pattern on top of the spine there. And it's also, where's the other spot that it's at? It's up there on the spine. And then he also has it down here into the choil. I don't know how well you'll see it, but I've done up close videos of this knife before. Just absolutely stunning. That extra touch is just amazing. And then getting into ergos, you can hold it back here. I have a large glove size hand. I can just get all 4 fingers on. So you can hold it back here and get a little bit more reach, right? And then that dinosaur jimping, I call it, or dinosaur pattern, it kind of acts as a very light jimping, and it works really well. I mean, it's very comfortable in hand. I wouldn't like rely on it as jimping, but it's better than having just a flat, soft spine. Then you can go up into this very nice choil. It's definitely generous enough. And it's so comfortable in hand in this grip. I mean, it just melts away in your hand. In my left hand, I feel that clip just a little bit, but it's not like poking me or anything right here in this middle finger when I squeeze down. You just have to kind of adjust your finger in the right spot. Ergos are phenomenal on this knife, guys. Carry, so I will say it's not like thick, but it is a thicker knife than most, I'd say, right? Like, this is a bad example, but today I'm carrying, oh yeah, I'm carrying 2 customs today. I have the Nurse, and in my front left pocket, I have the Kvist Blade Works variant, which I absolutely love. Just did a review on that as well. You'll see how much thinner that one is. I mean, it's way thinner, but this is a very thin knife. It's a bad example, but still, right? It's almost like 1.5 of these. Sorry, it might be a struggle to get this back in. Nope. All right, so it doesn't really carry thick, though. I'm just saying it's a little thicker because it has basically 4 layers of titanium, right? It doesn't necessarily make it heavy either, but it's not like a super lightweight knife, if you know what I mean. It's not milled out or anything in there. It's just 2 slabs of titanium on each side, but they are relatively thin slabs, so it works. So the carry, I always carry in my back left pocket because I'm left-handed, and I'm not going to carry this in my front pocket. So I like the long, deep clip. Really kind of secures it for me back there. And it carries deep enough that I'm not worried about it coming out. Now, ironically enough, on Sunday, I did a collection dive with Backpack B. Shout out to Backpack B. Go check out his collection diver series. And we were at my buddy Joe's house, and I had just put the knife in my back left pocket, and I lost it. I was like, where the is this knife? I'm looking around the house. Like, I literally could not find my Nurse. It was hanging off of one of his curtains. It was the weirdest thing. The clip, I guess because it hooks up a little bit here, it caught on one of his curtains. I had walked by the bay window around the table, and it must have just picked it right out of my pocket. It was the weirdest thing. This knife was just hanging on a curtain. It was pretty hilarious. So I guess it can be pulled out of your pocket somehow. I don't know. It was weird. I've never had issues other than that, though. Like, it carries really well. It carries pretty deep. I enjoy carrying it. Cutting. So I haven't done a ton of cutting with this just because it's a custom knife, you know, and kind of a one that's hard to replace as well, if you know what I mean. These go for like, I don't know, 700-800, maybe 900 new. You know, I paid like $7, I think. It was a trade, so it was like something like $7 in value I paid. Then I traded the frame lock for this, so I don't know what this would be worth. If I tried selling it, I could probably get like 800 or 900 for it, maybe. So, you know, it's not something I want to just go beat to shit. And I love the edge on it. It's got a nice mirror edge, so it doesn't make me want to use it a lot. But I've cut shipping labels out. I've opened packages. I've done all that kind of stuff. And it does really well with that. It has an excellent tip. It's got this Warney blade, obviously, so you get great control for doing like precision type cuts. I do a lot of pinch grips, guys. That's probably the majority of my cutting is in a pinch grip, or I just hold it like this and slice through something, right? I think I cut a couple apples with this for my kid, and then clean the blade off immediately. You know, I don't think I put it through much cardboard, if any, but I've used it. I just haven't abused it. You can tell the blade looks absolutely spotless. I've heard from other people with these that this finish does kind of scratch up easy or wear easy, but I don't have proof of that or anything, so I don't know. For me, it's been fantastic. It's not like, so it's a pretty thick stock, right? And then it comes down, obviously you see where the grind starts. It's not going to come down to the thinnest edge ever. So it's not like super thick or anything, but it's not like a laser beam. But for my type of cutting, right, that's why I love sheep's feet and Warneys, because they're really good for this type of stuff and just slicing through bags and whatever, right? So for me, the cutting is phenomenal. All right, I'd say it's good. It's not phenomenal. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Sounds. I don't know if you can hear it well, but it has a very unique pop out, and that's because, one, the detent is dialed really well, and it has a flattened ceramic detent ball. So the detent ball is flat instead of rounded, so instead of kind of rolling out of the detent hole, it pops out because it's flat, so it just all pops out at once. It gives it a real crisp break. It's really cool. It sounds awesome and it feels awesome. I would definitely give this like a 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of sounds. It's just not a super loud sound. If it was louder, then I think I would probably put it higher, but even with that said, it's awesome. That takes us to action. The action is incredible on this knife. I do have Delrin bearings in here. He ships his knives with steel caged steel bearings. I had a whole conversation with him before he ghosted me, and he just thinks they're fine. He thinks there's no point to ceramic bearings, and we're all fucking idiots because we think they're better, right? They're not better. That's what he says. So that's what a lot of makers say. I disagree. I think they are better. I mean, it's just a matter of, like, I've handled the knife with stock bearings and I've handled the knife with Delrin bearings. It's better. Like, it drops a little more. You don't kind of feel the balls rolling. You could feel them with the steel. You get more pivot sort of strength. Like, there's just a lot of benefits in my opinion, and you just have to handle one and then the other, and it's pretty obvious to me. I don't know why it's just sort of argument against it by makers. For the most part, I think it's just a cost factor. Like, they just don't want to pay And I'm not talking about Gavko here. Like, I'm talking about like a lot of custom makers use these steel bearings. And I mean, even the like Holt Haptics, the most engineered, like awesome knives come with steel bearings in them. And then you could pay $25 for ceramic ones. Like, why don't you just put skiffs in it and add $10 to the cost? Like, it's super weird to me. But a lot of makers just don't think bearings are worth it, or they don't factor that in, which is weird, because to me, it really is a key part of the action, the bearings, right? I mean, it's not everything. Tolerances and where things are located and how everything lines up and your detent and all of that matter, right? But the bearings matter too, you know? And it's such a little easy thing that you can upgrade. I don't know. It's so strange to me. But anyway, you can see the action is freaking incredible. It drops. I mean, I got to give it a little bit of a shake. It's kind of like sometimes it drops right away. Sometimes it needs a little encouragement. It's not like a guillotine where like I can do this and it'll just free drop down. But I mean, you can see that it's very smooth. I could back the pivot off and make it more droppy, but I have it dead nut centered. I have it tightened to where I mean, I could back off it and still have no play side to side. But I mean, it's smooth as glass. It's just really nice. And that detent just is crisp. And you can pop it from anywhere. I mean, you can get down here. Oh, sorry, I'll do it left-handed. Ring finger pops right out. And that's at the bottom here. You know how far away from the pivot that is? Takes way less pressure to break the detent, and it still has a pop and a click. And then you could go up to the top and get a real strong deployment. Your thumb can go up top. I mean, it's just amazing, the action. It is a fidget monster. You can just sit here and play with this all freaking day, and it's such a blast. I love it. I love it. So overall, this is one of the best purchases I've ever made, or trades or whatever. Picking this up last year, just after the absolute heartache of having it the first month or two, where I was taking it apart constantly. If you guys watched my live streams, you saw it. I was taking it apart constantly, cleaning out the lock bar and all this shit because of the lock stick. And it was just annoying as hell, the back and forth with Gavko and having him totally just ghost me. And then finally being saved by the knife modders. It was like the most amazing feeling when I got this knife back from them and I did this and there was no stick, and it just, it was like, dude, it was like the most amazing feeling. I just absolutely, because I love the fucking knife so much, but it just had this nagging lock stick, right? So anyway, now it is literally one of the best knives in my collection. It's a top 5 knife in the collection for sure. And the more that I play with it, the more I want to like push that number up. That's how much I love it. So that is the Gavko custom Nurse liner lock. The steel, by the way, is Nitro V, and then it's titanium handles, carbonized lock bar, so no insert. And that's pretty much it, guys. So sorry for the long one there, but I had a lot to say. It's a great knife, and it's a pleasure to own it, honestly. I just hope nothing ever goes wrong with it. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, all right? There should be a little subscribe thingy right around here. At some point, you can subscribe if you like the video. There's going to be a suggested video over there. I finally learned how to do all this shit. I love you guys. I really do. Just truly do something nice for somebody if you can. I know a lot of people say that, but it really does mean a lot to whoever that is. You know, hold the fucking door for somebody. You get it. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.